when I moved here, it was scary because I had left my whole network of professional colleagues. Like I had a wonderful network in Milwaukee of business and professional associations and friends and acquaintances. And I had left my whole friend, core group of people my whole life. But some of those people were people I had known since I was in high school, since I was, my best friend that I met like the second week of Marquette, I left her behind, so like I was like, oh my God, how am I going to make friends? But it'll happen. Like if you just challenge yourself to do it.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's Nancy and welcome to the She Laughs podcast. Sit down with me while I chat and get personal with some insanely cool women as they share their smarts and their hearts. God gave us each unique gifts and we got to use them. Inside each one of us is a cool girl. So buckle up. Let's get vulnerable. Let's get real and let's laugh. Hi guys, welcome back to the She Laughs podcast. And today I'm super excited to have the lovely, talented, and brainy Jocelyn Durant on here today. It's so fun. Hi, Jocelyn.
Nancy.
We're so glad you're here. Y'all, it's really fun how we met. So I have this mentor and he lives in New Jersey. And when I was telling him about the podcast, he's like, oh my gosh, we've got to meet Jocelyn. This has been a long time in the making, getting her on here. She's a busy girl and we're so happy to have her. But Jocelyn, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her before she takes over. Jocelyn is Senior Vice President of Marketing at Lexitas, which is amazing and huge. And she's also founded a really great, is it a company, organization, I guess you call it, right? Organization.
Yeah, it's a nonprofit.
Yeah, nonprofit. There you go. Nonprofit called Nerdy Girls Success. And it's so cool because I'm going to read a little bit about it to everyone so that they can hear, and then I'll let you elaborate on it. If you get on their website, what you'll find is all they've done. So I'm just going to go high level, but it's just so inspiring. And I think to see women giving back to other women is just like, wow. So I love it. But okay, let me read a little bit, a snippet. As long as there is gender inequity, Nerdy Girls Success is committed to empowering every young woman that they belong in any room in which decisions are made. Gosh, I want that on a t-shirt. And then it talks about a recent survey revealed that young women are aware that they deserve equal opportunities and pay, yet they remain hesitant to enter male-dominated careers like engineering. By adolescent, many occupations are ruled out based on gender, social class, or intellectual potential. 80% of Black girls and 64% of Latina girls scored higher on leadership scales when they have role models of their same race or ethnicity, which is so interesting. Since 2018, we have served almost 8 young women with 600 hours of free programming. Through career exploration, mentoring, and career college prep, they empower and equip their young women to chart their own path to leadership. Since their founding, their young women have been accepted into business mentorship programs, have gone out for and accepted school leadership positions, started setting goals and created action plans for meeting them, and are better prepared for interviews for college, jobs, and scholarships. So,
Yes.
Wow, I love everything about that. So thank you for being here today. And I'd love for you to let everybody know a little bit about you and then how your current career trajectory sort of intertwines and is a part of the Nerdy Girls success story as well.
Yeah, definitely. One small correction. I did not found Nerdy Girl Success. A wonderful woman named Christina Mead did. She's amazing. You've been part of the organization, though, since 2021, and I'm currently the president of the board of directors. But it is an amazing organization. I'll touch on that a little bit more. So a little bit about me. I grew up in the Midwest, big Wisconsin girl. Went to Marquette University. And I think a lot of that really shaped who I am today. Marquette University is all about service to the community, service to one another. And ever since I was in school there, have been very focused on trying to give back to the community. So when I lived in Milwaukee, I was on the Marquette University College of Business Alumni Board and served in several positions and was the youngest president on that particular alumni board. But the biggest component to that is that when I was in school there, they had started a very small mentorship program. And so I had a mentor that I am still in contact with today who kind of helped guide me and answer questions and provide insights, was a reference when I needed a reference on job applications. And then during my term at the university on the alumni board, we expanded that mentorship program and it is now university wide, which is
Wow.
really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's something about the school really inspired you to give back. Was that already something that your parents had put into place, or was it something that the school?
I would say that Marquette helped my desire and passion to give back to the community, but I really saw that throughout my childhood. I was raised by a single mother, and my maternal grandmother was very involved in my life, as well as my aunt and uncle, and I always saw them giving back to the community. My grandmother was a union stewardess. And so she helped facilitate activities within her job, but she also gave back to the community. She worked for political campaigning. She planned 4th of July celebrations and activities at our local community park. My mom was also very active in the community, as well as my uncle. And so I saw all of that growing up, and I participated, of course, but not in the same, degree, but I always wanted to do more. And then Marquette just ignited that desire because they are so service focused.
Wow, that's awesome. And I think that's so important. So I love everybody that's listening. You may not realize what you're doing as a mom or a grandmother just by the impact you're having on your granddaughter, your family, or others
Yeah.
watching. So they planted that little seed in your heart. And
Yes.
yeah, okay. All right. So you graduate from school and tell us the story. How did you
Sure.
get here today and have this wonderful nonprofit?
It's a very, I would say that my road was not straight. It definitely, took some turns and twists and had some challenges. I've worked in several different industries, banking, manufacturing. I worked at a law firm in Wisconsin for quite a while. And then relocated down here to Houston. It'll be 14 years in
Go
September.
Texas. Okay. How'd you
Yeah.
through work or love or work? What or the money or what?
It's a very complicated lifetime
Okay.
story, but I was originally born down here
Oh, okay.
and
Okay.
relocated back to Wisconsin as an infant. My father's side of the family is all down here. So 14 years ago, I wanted to be closer and tried to connect with that side of the family. And it was a new kind of opportunity and beginning. So yeah, I've been down here now
Very
over 10 years.
cool. And that's a brave thing too, right? I mean, that takes some
Yes.
moxie to do that. Yeah. To
It was
relocate.
very scary. I give so much credit and praise to people who can move and relocate, especially as they're a little bit older. It's
Yeah.
been challenging, but also very rewarding to be down here and to be able to kind of start anew or, do a new
Yeah.
chapter in life in a new location.
Yeah. Reboot, right?
Yeah.
And meet new people and new streets and I mean, it's new everything.
I'm still using GPS in some
I
places.
know. Everything is like, oh my gosh. But I think it's so good for us to keep learning and doing and new roads, new everything, people, culture.
New
Wisconsin's different than Texas.
experiences.
So that's a brave thing too. Okay. So how'd you land at Lexitas? Was it just you got to Houston and got hired or, okay, you were with a law firm, I'm guessing, because you mentioned that.
Was with a law firm in Wisconsin. It was a regional law firm at the time. And then I decided to leave there to relocate down here. And when I started here, I worked for a chemical company that had a subsidiary, which was a building products company. I can name them. They were a wonderful company. I worked for Westlake Chemical. It was originally a family owned company. And then they went public, but the family's still very involved and they were a wonderful organization. And then from there, I worked for safety
Marketing
management.
for everybody. Was that the
Yes.
central theme? So all of these jobs
Yes.
you were doing marketing. Okay.
Always marketing. Yes.
Then eventually you landed at Lexitas.
Yes. So
Okay.
I went from Westlake Chemical to a safety manufacturing company. And then I was recruited to join Lexitas in September of 2021. And it has been amazing. I can't believe it's been almost 4 years. My team is amazing. My
That's
CMO,
great.
Brenda, is amazing. Erin
Yeah,
was with
I
us,
love
and that's our
that.
connection.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Was
yeah.
so great to work with. Yeah.
Sure. He is actually going to be on the podcast in the guys'
Oh,
corner
awesome.
section. So I'm
I love
excited to
that.
have him on too. Yeah, for sure. So what I would love for everybody to hear, if you would be willing to share, because the podcast is kind of all about stepping out in fear and doing things afraid and just trusting ourselves and trusting God to use whatever He's given us to go out and do it so we don't live small and afraid. And so I would love for you to kind of share some of the obstacles because it takes grit, it takes resilience, it takes faith to overcome these little things we tell ourselves or the extraneous things happening outside of us that we have no control over, right? So I
All of
would
those
love for
things.
you to let the women listening know a little bit about your story and how you were able to, push through some of the hard stuff and then
Sure.
also how you were able to help. I just love what y'all do at Nerdy Girls. I just think it's so cool.
I do
Would love
too.
for you to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So obstacles, and challenges. Yeah, I definitely think that all of those things you mentioned, Nancy, really kind of get inside of our head, and really just kind of can eat away at your self-confidence for sure. So I would say obstacles and challenges. I mean, I think that there are a lot of things that I learned growing up with a single mother, um, and the obstacles and challenges and sacrifices that she made, not only for herself, but for me. I helped pay to my way through school. So I worked almost full time all the way through my 5 years at university. So that was an experience. And I think that was a really valuable experience to me. But that was challenging because I didn't live on campus. I didn't, do the whole party scene every weekend. I was working a lot. And so that was very different from the rest of the kids who lived on campus and didn't commute to school.
Right.
And then in the workplace, I think that it was very evident very early on how different women are treated than men. And
Right.
the things that people say and they don't really think about, or the positions that they put women in. You might be the only woman in a room, and it's like, oh, well, you'll take the notes for that and send us our action items. And I'm like, how did I get delegated to be the note taker?
Oh, yes. Yes. Or your
And I think,
idea that you say, and
yeah.
when they all just look at you, and then somebody, a male repeats it at the end of the meeting, and it's,
And it's
oh, that's great.
earth shattering.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
It's the greatest thing they've ever heard since
Ever
sliced
heard.
bread.
Right.
Right. So I
Yeah.
think it's a lot of that. And I think, like I said, I've been in a lot of different industries, and I think that some of them have been more male predominant. Like I worked in construction and safety and building materials. And so I think that that was, you know, challenging in and of itself. Again, same situation. And I think the more that you're kind of put in place or you're kind of pegged as a certain person. I was once told that, oh, well, you just assumed that you were the pretty marketing girl who handed out flyers at events for us.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I'm sorry, excuse
Ah,
me?
that is
And
so cringy. I can't
it's
even.
cringy because I was the senior marketing manager. And yes, I did go to events and I love people and I love interacting at those types of, things like trade shows and conferences. But I was like, I have a brain. And
Yeah.
the
And it's,
person who said it to me really meant it like, oh, you're so much smarter than I knew. And I think he thought he was paying me a compliment. But I was like, so you thought I was dumb before? Like,
right.
so I think it's those things. And I think, the more those things happen to you, like you said before, Nancy, I think that they really kind of get inside your head and you have this like, oh, maybe that is my role. Maybe that is what I'm good at. Or maybe they won't see me in a different light. And you try to put on these different hats and wear different clothes and talk differently and do things differently so that you're seen for the potential that you have. And I think that in certain cases, like that has been to my detriment because, we're all self-conscious and we all have moments of, like, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this. I think the greatest and the biggest thing that I can say is to find your people. I have had amazing mentors. I have had and worked with amazing people who have really helped push me to do my best, to be my best, to learn more, to do more. And they haven't all been women. So I do want to say that, like, it's not that there aren't great men and allies out there. But a lot of them have been very strong women who have persevered in different industries, one of which was in the building product space, and she had worked in chemicals. And she gave me such great advice, and I'm going to share it because
Yeah, please.
I just shared it with somebody on my team because I know how this is. As a woman, I sometimes still see this, but a lot of times it was me too, as I was younger, where you would be in a room and you'd be in a meeting and you would just keep talking because nobody else was talking. So you felt like
Yes.
you had to fill the
Fill
space.
the space. Yeah.
And one of my past, she was my boss, but also my mentor, Renee, she said, "Stop talking, Jocelyn. And if you stop talking, someone else will feel the need to fill the space and you will learn so much more that way."
Okay. So just stop talking.
Just
Let
stop
it
talking.
be
Say what you
comfortable.
want to say, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay.
And it
I
was
love that.
mind-boggling because I was like, "Oh." And I started using it, and she was right. Like, other people will just start saying things and filling the space, and most times they'll say more than they really ever meant to say, and you will get so much more out of that conversation or that interaction.
I don't know if I could do that because I
It's
know I
easy.
shouldn't. And then I wait and I wait. And then and nobody's doing anything. And I'm probably not waiting long enough, obviously.
You need to make them uncomfortable.
I know I need to. I'm so glad you're telling us this because I've
Yeah.
tried and I just find I can't because I feel like nobody else is doing it, but maybe it's only been like 1 second. I don't know.
But it feels like an eternity, so that's why
Yes,
we do
that's what
it.
I mean. It feels so long. Okay,
I did it with a
stay
team member
quiet.
this week. Yeah, just say your piece and wait.
Okay, I'm going to write that down. Your piece and wait. And then you said find your people. For people listening, that's really hard because over the years,
It
I've
is.
heard you need a mentor, find a mentor. And for a long time, I looked for a spiritual mentor and there just weren't right fits and that didn't work out. And then one just serendipitously happened and that was great. And then in a professional arena, the same thing happened with Aaron, our connection.
Yeah.
It was just by the grace of God that I got to know him and realize, oh my gosh, he's so smart. I want to do everything like he does, right? And have him be my mentor. But for people that don't have a network like that, who do want to find their people, how do they do that?
So I've done that through my alumni association. So I know a lot of universities and colleges have an alumni association and a way to connect. Otherwise, I would highly advocate. When I first moved here, I went to different networking events to try to meet people. And then within an organization, like if you see somebody that you admire and you see what they're doing and that they're, having wonderful professional success, or that's a job that you would aspire to want to have at some point, like invite them to coffee, invite them to lunch, try to connect that way with somebody professionally and say, like, I admire you. I think that you're doing a fantastic job and I would like to aspire to that same position. Could you help me? Would you be willing to help me? And the women, yeah, the women who want to do that and help shape the next generation, I think are very open and willing to do that. I know I am. So if there's somebody who's listening, and you want a mentor, please connect with me. I'm happy to help. But that was also, yeah, one of the things that I really loved about Nerdy Girl. And I'll tell you, I found Nerdy Girl through a past work colleague who turned best friend, but she was always somebody that I professionally admired. She was strong and people listened to her, and she was assertive, and she was learning more and doing more to progress her career. And so that she invited me to join Nerdy Girl back in 2021. And that was such a blessing. Um, but that
But it
whole part
takes
is
that stepping out, is what you're saying.
right.
Yeah.
I know that's scary, and I don't say that
Yep.
lightly because I just told Aaron this, that like when I moved here it was scary. You always function or you go to things with other people, but I literally knew no one down here other than family members. And so I would sign up to go to these networking events and I would be like, okay, you need to talk to 5 people. You need to stay for a minimum of 40 minutes. Like, you can do this. Like,
Oh, I
and I would
love
set a little alarm on my phone to like, that was the time I had. I had to stay. That was the minimum. As uncomfortable as I was, as hard as that was, but I did meet some people that way. And it was really great. And it made me feel less alone in a very, very large city.
right. No, yeah, you're in the third largest city in the country for
Yeah. Just
sure. I don't know.
left my whole network of professional colleagues. Like, I had a wonderful network in Milwaukee of business and professional associations and friends and acquaintances. And I had left my whole core group of people my whole life. But
Yeah,
some of those people were people I had known since I was in high school, since I
yeah,
was, my best friend that I met like the second week of Marquette, like I left her behind. It was, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to make
yeah.
friends? But it'll happen. Like, if you just challenge yourself to do it.
Well, see, and I think that's so important for people to hear because when you're on the outside looking in and you're that
Right.
girl that wants that network, you think, oh my gosh, everybody knows everybody. All of this happens
Yes.
organically and it's not happening to me. That's not the case. You
No.
really do have to put yourself out there and be comfortable getting uncomfortable to
Yeah.
these events, not know anybody, which is so daunting. It's
It
so,
is.
yeah.
And people do say that, like, I don't want to say flippantly, but they say it like it's so easy. And even now, I sometimes struggle in a personal situation. I'm like, oh, I'd love to meet more people in my community. And my best friend is like, well, just, meet people. I go to Pilates. And they're like, well, meet people there. And I'm like, in the middle of what, like a plank series? I'm supposed to be like, hey, what are you doing Saturday? Do you want to get a drink? Like, but like, you do have to, be like, oh, do you have kids? Do you live nearby? Do you want to go, to Single Bingo?
Yes, no, I think that's so important because what I've learned is if you feel that little prompting, if, you're at your locker at Pilates or at Barry's or wherever you go, or you're on the elevator and you feel that prompting to say something, to
Yeah.
say it because then the moment's lost. And I've recently really kind of embodied that. And I still, at my stage in life and everything. I still go, oh, are they going to think I'm like, especially today with all the
Yeah.
wackadoodle.
Are they going to think I'm weird?
Yeah, they're going to think I'm a wackadoodle. And I've met two of my dearest friends just by saying, oh my gosh, one of them, what's your dog's name? And then it's conversation. And then you realize, oh my gosh, this is a really neat person. And they want a friend too. And, we all do, I think, inside.
Yeah, we all want community. It's just easier that way when you have connections and you have people and you have groups. And I mean, there's so many studies about like, having friendship in your life and how that improves the quality of your life and the longevity of your life. And so, I mean, there is something to that, but we definitely have that innate desire to connect with people.
Yes. And I do think as women, like you were saying, professionally, it can be harder because some
Yeah.
areas are seen as male dominated, or even if they're not, that tends to be the hierarchy within the organization. I found in the smaller organizations can be really true, but sometimes in the larger companies, it doesn't happen as often, but maybe it does. You're in a big company. I don't know, but
I would, I would say, and
speak to that.
yeah, no, I mean, I think my organization that I'm in now is really amazing. And I have not encountered that in my current organization, which is lovely, given its size. But I do think it is, I hope that people are growing and evolving. I hope that they are listening to, the change of winds, in our world. But I mean, I think that is one of the things that there is still disparity around. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to be part of Nerdy Girl, because I want to give the young girls, their next generation, the confidence, the tools, the leadership ability to go out and not be as afraid, to not worry about raising their hand and speaking up in a room full of older people or men and share their piece. Like when we were going, I forget what we were planning. We were planning a campaign for something. And this statistic just stuck with me. It was this research study where they had girls and boys in a room and they were learning how to code, and they would give them a project to code and the girls would do it, but then they would keep changing it because they were not confident that what they had coded was right. Whereas the boys, they would code it once and they they would be done. Whether or not it was right or wrong, they
Oh,
didn't
that's
second guess themselves. But the
so
girls kept changing it. And when they went back and looked, like most of them had it right the first time,
first time.
but they
Right.
weren't confident in what they were doing. And so they kept like trying to change it and tweak it, thinking that that would be the way to get it right. And I want every young girl, like whether, whatever job you're going into, whether it's marketing or science or law or engineering, I want them to have the confidence to know that they may be right. And it's okay to not be right. That's the other part where I think that we're so afraid to fail. We're so afraid to have the wrong
100%.
idea
Yeah.
or, say the wrong thing. But I think like there is something to learn from that also. And you shouldn't be afraid to do that because not everybody's right 100% of the time. Like,
Well, I agree. Yeah. And if you don't take that risk of whatever it is of failing or being wrong, then you're just living small. You're really
right.
not living, you know?
And maybe, yeah, and maybe like the first thing you say isn't right or it won't work, but like somebody else might be able to tweak it so it will work or build on it. And you might get to like a really great solution or a really great idea or product or whatever it is by just putting it out there. And you don't,
100%.
yeah, you will never know if you don't say anything.
No, and that is why I'm here too doing this podcast is because we stay small and quiet for fear of being wrong or being thought of as less than, right?
Mm,
And then we have these narratives we tell ourselves, these become these limiting beliefs and they're kind of like handcuffs, and
right.
we do it to ourselves sometimes. But I love that you've, been so proactive in helping these young girls at Nerdy Girls. So if somebody that's listening, would like to learn more, I know they can go to your website, nerdygirlssuccess.com, right?
Or,
Yes. Oh, .org. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. .org. nerdygirlssuccess.org. But if they want to donate, they can donate online. Is there a way they can volunteer? Like how can
Yeah.
they be more active? Oh, that's
So
cool.
many great, yeah, there's so many great ways to get involved. So yeah, definitely go to the website. But yes, we are always looking for volunteers. We host high school clubs. So right now the girls meet once a month at the high school club and we bring in different speakers and we provide different topics to help them like grow. We help them create LinkedIn's and resumes and help them with interviewing. We've helped place girls with internships, but the high school clubs they meet. And so we're always looking for speakers for that. We also host summits in Houston, Chicago. We've done one in DC and we're hoping to kind of work up to be able to grow and expand that. So that's another way. We do field trips with the girls, and then we do what we call flash mentoring. So that would be a really great way for people who aren't necessarily in a hub city for us to volunteer in all different professions, all different industries for the girls to find and connect with. And they can ask questions and kind of get insights into what that job or degree would be or where they could go with that. That's been a really great way for the girls to connect with different professionals and jobs and to just kind of feel out what they are interested in. The summits also have,
Is that virtual? The
yes,
Flashman?
the flash
Okay.
mentoring is virtual. So that's a
Okay.
really great way for other people across the country to get involved. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. That's awesome. So your major cities, the hubs that y'all are in are Houston, Chicago,
Houston,
DC.
yep. I would say right now, primarily, we have 5 different high school clubs in Houston. We're working on getting 2 in Chicago. And then we have done a summit with a high school in DC, but I wouldn't say that's a hub city for us. That was kind of like a one-off because we had a board member and some advisory board members that were able to connect us. But we are looking, for volunteers, donations so that we can grow and expand and bring more young women into the fold and get them ready for their professional careers.
Ah, I love that. I'm for sure gonna look at helping Flash Mentor. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, a great way I could help and from afar, right? Okay, so for the ladies that are listening, I would love for you to just give them the 3 things. And what I heard 2, but I'm wondering if you have a third. You're just saying, find your people, say your piece, and then be quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Don't feel uncomfortable silences.
Right.
Right. And then what is one more thing that you'd like everybody listening to know?
Oh, the other thing I'm super passionate about is always continue to learn. Learn something new. Learn something in your own profession. Learn something in a different profession. I had a really wonderful boss who said that you can really learn so much for your own job and profession or industry from other industries, from other professions. So don't limit yourself to what you're learning to just marketing or just services or just manufacturing, depending on what your role or your job is, but always continue to learn and look wide and deep for something
Right?
that will inspire you. Yeah.
I think that's so great, even for people that may be exiting a career or maybe they're retiring or they're just looking for something personally,
Yeah.
to grow. I think it's important to, even if it's not a career, to still be learning
Yeah. It'll
whatever
keep us young.
your sport. What'd you say?
I said it'll keep us young. It
It
really
does.
they've shown that learning new things really helps your brain. And so as we age, that's one of the ways that we can continue to be engaged and active and yeah, try new things, learn create new neural pathways.
Yeah. I think that's great advice.
Yeah. And how much fun can you have learning new things or trying new things? This behind me, I did that. I watched a couple of videos. Yeah, it's like a textured art piece made out of the stuff you put the plaster you put on top of drywall.
And you learned that how?
I watched some TikTok videos. I thought it looked cool. We had an extra piece of plywood in our shed that my husband very nicely sanded down for me, and I got the bucket of stuff and a little shovel tool.
Love that. And there's
Yeah. Well, it unlocks the other side of the brain that you may not be using. We're so analytical and, a lot of people who work with data. So yeah, it unlocks the other side of your brain. And again, it creates new pathways and invigorates you.
Well, it makes you more interesting too.
That's a bonus.
More interesting if you are doing new interesting things. I mean, I think I love that art too. It's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jocelyn. I wish I was still in Houston so that we could go finally have that lunch. But
if I'm in Austin, I will definitely reach out so we can do that in person.
Sure. Well, guys, thank you, Jocelyn. If y'all are interested, and she offered up being a mentor, and I cannot think of a better person as a mentor. So if you are, reach out to me and I will connect you to Jocelyn. And again, if you're interested in getting involved in Nerdy Girls Success, it's nerdygirlssuccess.org. And there's all different ways you can help, even from afar, if you're not a Houstonian. So thanks, guys, for listening. Jocelyn, thank you for being here. It was
Thanks,
so
Nancy.
fun.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so great to see you too.
You too. Okay, guys, until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to She Laughs. If this episode encouraged you, would you share it with a friend who might need a little courage or a reminder that she's not alone? Every share helps more women find their inner cool girl and kick fear to the curb. You can find links to our guests, watch full episodes on YouTube, and connect with me on social at She Laughs Podcast Official, all in the show notes. And remember, the dream inside of you means something. Take the first step. Be brave. God's got your back. And girl, you've got this.